Whoa! Happy Halloween, or whenever you're watching this. I'm James Devono.
And I'm Lone Mackenzie.
And we are the Best Men.
2 months ago, we put out an album called A Better Tomorrow. And at the time, we asked people on Instagram if they had any questions about the album. And so we've taken all those questions and compiled them in this pumpkin. And we're going to read them out to you today.
Yay! This pumpkin. Question uno out of the magic pumpkin is, what was the recording process like?
The recording process was a little strange. It was very broken up into different segments. Like the drums and the bass were done 1 week, then I spent about 2 weeks doing guitars, then we spent a week doing vocals, and then it was all just editing from there for another month or so.
Next question, how long did it take to produce the album?
To produce the album, after we had everything written and started actually recording the stuff, took about 2 months total. We went from the end of, near the end of July 2022, pretty well right up until the week before it came out on August 19th.
Mm-hmm. Next question. This one's gross.
What is the origin of Mepsi Packs?
Oh god, Mepsi Packs. I love that one. Well, a lot of different things. So, we know this guy, who we hate. We're not gonna say his name, but his nickname is Mepsi Packs. And so, we had to be in close contact with Mepsi Packs. This was when A Better Tomorrow was, around the beginning of it, late July or whatever.
Yeah, I'd say maybe early July-ish.
Early July, sure. So, and right after talking to him, we went to the convenience store. And the convenience store, we go there a lot. And I was in the mood to write lyrics, so I started writing a chorus to what eventually became Mepsi Packs. And so Mepsi Packs, it also sounds like a product. So it's like Mepsi Packs at the Conveni, because we were going to the convenience store at the time. So it came pretty naturally from there. It was about, a product at the store that became addictive because, we go to our local Conveni quite often, so that was not too far from the truth.
Another thing I could probably throw in is that was probably the latest song written on the album, because it was we probably only finished it maybe a week or two before we went in and started recording. I mean, we didn't even have a full demo of it recorded when we went to go in and do it, so it was pretty well off the top of our heads, and I think it came out pretty well, especially considering.
Great guitar work on it.
Great vocal work on it.
Oh. Alright, here, yeah, you read these.
What inspired the album's creation?
Oh, geez. Well, Lowen was showing me all of his demos, because at the time, A Better Tomorrow wasn't A Better Tomorrow. It was just a bunch of demos he'd done over, a span of, a year or two?
Something like that, yeah.
So, he was showing me all of them and was asking me what we could salvage if we wanted to make an album. And I realized that basically almost all of them could fit together in its own little thing, A Better Tomorrow. Originally, all the songs were completely separate. When I Fall Down and Daydreaming had no correlation, but we figured that there was some kind of a story to it. That's about how we came to want to make that as our first album.
Another thing I might throw into that as well is that on the original batch of demos that I had, Things Are Looking Up was not even on there.
Right.
And so you asked if I had anything else. I showed you this instrumental I had because I didn't record vocals over it. And that I can the gears started clicking in your head. And you found that as a way to kind of wrap up the whole storyline you had woven out of these demos.
Mm-hmm.
And that song wouldn't be on the album if it wasn't for you.
Next did he do?
You can read this one.
Alright. We're getting grosser and grosser. Pumpkin guts. Can't even read it. Okay. What physical way would you want your album distributed first? Vinyl, CD, or cassette?
Distributed. I think CDs is probably the best option.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if we start playing live shows here and there, if we just bring a few CDs, maybe we can pawn them off on people, no one really plays cassettes anymore, and vinyls are kind of vinyls are a weird one because they're expensive to make for one thing, and it's kind of a niche
group of people that
yeah,
are enthusiastic about them. That's the thing, is that we're in that niche of people that like vinyl. So if this were like the highest price of hypothetical, I would love A Better Tomorrow floating around on vinyl, if anything else. But I think I do agree that CDs would be the most practical. Just
CDs are the most practical, but yeah,
Vinyl.
I do agree that like even just having a pressing of the vinyl, even if it's just for ourselves, like to put up on a wall or something, that would be pretty cool.
vinyl's a dream. Yeah. All right, you can grab. I think this is the last question
Oh, it is indeed.
of the spooky night.
And let's see. What are your musical influences?
Oh, nice.
For both of us.
You want to answer first?
Yeah, sure, I can go. Well, I started off listening to music probably around maybe 2 years before A Better Tomorrow came out. And so Weezer was my main band that kind of got me into music. But then I started listening to other bands like Foo Fighters, a little bit of Nirvana. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. It was a lot of Weezer, and I kind of found that those power chords and kind of, it's like the way it kind of catches and sticks in your head. I really like that, and I kind of wanted to, you know, capture that and write songs like that.
Well, singing started as coming from a background in musical theater. Since I was 9 years old, I'd say, I've been more into musical theater than actual, real music. But starting around like a year or so ago, I started listening to Alice Cooper, and that's what really inspired most of my lyrical choices, and in upcoming projects will probably also inspire at least a portion of my vocals. But it was mostly musical theater for Better Tomorrow that really took head of the way I sang.
And that was sort of the original idea for the Best Men too, was if we put my music and like power chords and catchiness with your like very clear and defined singing from your musical theater background. And I think it makes a pretty interesting sound, for sure. That's everything then.
That's everything. All right.
Well, thank you very much for joining us and listening to the album. We're very appreciative of everyone. Go ahead and cut.
Good night.
Good night.